What if I told you one of the WNBA's toughest competitors didn't lose her season to a bad play, but to something much darker? A brutal hit, a chilling scream, and a pattern of violence the league has refused to stop. The sound was haunting. Not sneakers squeaking, not a whistle blowing, but the crash of Sophie Cunningham hitting the hardwood, followed by her desperate cries of "no, no, no." In that instant, her season was over. And make no mistake, this wasn't basketball. This was an attack. Now some will try to brush it off as bad luck, just a hard foul in a tough league. But that excuse crumbles fast once you start connecting the dots, because the player responsible, Bria Hartley, didn't just make one reckless mistake. She's been building a disturbing highlight reel of dangerous, unnecessary plays. Just weeks before ending Cunningham's season, cameras caught Hartley yanking Angel Reese out of the air by her ponytail, not fighting for position, not going for the ball, just raw aggression. Go back a little further and you'll see her body slamming Becca Allen to the floor, tossing her like she was nothing more than dead weight. A move so reckless, most fans expected a suspension, but nothing happened. And now, with Cunningham's season shattered, the question is impossible to ignore. How many chances does one player get before the league finally steps in? Because this isn't tough defense, this is a pattern, pulling hair, throwing players down, taking out one of the Fever's emotional leaders. At some point, it stops looking like coincidence and starts looking like identity. Hartley wasn't competing that night. She was cementing a reputation as one of the most dangerous players in the league, while the WNBA stood by, silent. And the cost? It wasn't just another injury report. It was the heart of the Indiana Fever. Sophie Cunningham wasn't a role player, wasn't just filling minutes. She had instantly become Indiana's spark, their fire, their voice, their heartbeat. She hit big shots, locked down on defense, and carried herself with the kind of grit you can't teach. But maybe her most important role wasn't even in the box score. She was Caitlin Clark's protector, the one who stood up when refs swallowed their whistles, the one who sent the message, "If you're coming for our superstar, you'll have to go through me first." And now, she's gone. Sophie Cunningham gave Indiana more than points on the board. She gave them swagger. She gave them toughness. She gave them an identity that went beyond just Caitlin Clark. And in one sickening moment, all of that vanished. Her injury, potentially an Achilles, is devastating. Not just physically, but spiritually. The Fever didn't just lose a shooter. They lost their emotional anchor, their enforcer, the one player who made sure they weren't easy prey. And that's what makes this hit so much bigger than just an injury. Bria Hartley didn't just take down a player. She dismantled an entire team identity, leaving Caitlin Clark more vulnerable and more alone than ever before. But here's the part no one wants to say out loud. This wasn't an isolated moment. This is a symptom of something much darker. The WNBA right now isn't just battling injuries, it's bleeding out from them. One by one, stars are falling like dominoes, not from bad luck, but from reckless, out-of-control play that the league refuses to rein in. Caitlin Clark, the very face of the league's new audience, has already missed more games than she's played, thanks to hard fouls that often go unpunished. Sydney Colson, out for the season with a torn ACL. Ari McDonald, gone with a broken foot. And across the league, franchises are scrambling to fill lineups with whoever's left standing. Players who, let's be real, look like they were plucked straight from a rec league. And yet, somehow, league leadership keeps smiling and branding this chaos as toughness. But who exactly is this toughness for? Because fans tuning in aren't buying tickets to watch their favorite stars limp off the court. They're not ordering jerseys for players who won't even finish the season. This isn't toughness, this is negligence dressed up as grit. And the cost isn't just injuries, it's the league's very future. And if you think the players alone are to blame, think again. Because this culture of carnage doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's fueled by referees who, at this point, have become less credible than WWE officials. Yes, I said it. At least pro wrestling refs know when to blow the whistle. These WNBA officials, they've turned incompetence into an art form. Their failure to control intensity is exactly why players like Bria Hartley feel untouchable, why they can cross the line without consequence. Case in point, the foul that ended Cunningham's season, 75 feet from the basket. Dangerous, obvious, everybody saw it, and what did the refs do? Nothing. But when Cunningham, lying in pain, furious, heartbroken, dared to protest. She was the one hit with a technical foul. Let that sink in. The victim was punished for speaking up. This isn't letting them play. This is negligence. This is a league sending a crystal clear message. Not only are reckless hits tolerated, but calling them out could cost you even more. And that begs the question, if the officials can't protect the players, and the league won't protect its stars, who exactly is protecting the future of the WNBA? These referees aren't just missing calls, they've created a lawless environment. Striped shirts, blindfolds on, human traffic cones pretending to officiate, while players pay the price. Their job is simple: protect the athletes, and their failure is exactly why this crisis has spiraled out of control. But if the refs are the foot soldiers, then Commissioner Kathy Engelbert is the general who abandoned the battlefield. Her response: tone-deaf excuses that insult every player carried off the court. She's pointed fingers at fatigue, off-season leagues, and rest schedules. Here's the problem: Caitlin Clark didn't play overseas. Sophie Cunningham didn't either. And yet both are seriously injured, not because of fatigue, but because the league tolerates violence over skill. This isn't leadership, it's deflection, it's cowardice, and it's left the WNBA adrift, with accountability buried under PR spin. But now, the league faces something it can't ignore: a lawsuit. Bria Hartley isn't just staring at a suspension, she's being sued, and that changes everything. Because once this enters a courtroom, excuses and spin don't matter anymore. Only evidence does. For Sophie Cunningham, this isn't just about medical bills or lost salary, it's about justice. And if she wins, the floodgates open. Angel Reese could sue for that hair pull. Others could follow for dangerous plays masquerading as basketball. Suddenly, a dirty foul isn't just a suspension, it's potential financial ruin, a career-ending lawsuit, and the WNBA is nowhere near ready for that storm. The league's refusal to police itself has now opened the door for the outside world to step in, and that's a nightmare scenario. Because once the lawyers and courts get involved, no amount of fines or suspensions can soften the blow. The game itself is now on trial. This legal Pandora's box casts a shadow over the WNBA's entire future, and at the center of it all, the name no one can escape, is Caitlin Clark. With Sophie Cunningham, her protector, her shield, out for the season, Clark has never been more vulnerable. Opponents smell blood in the water, and players with reputations like Bria Hartley, they know there's no one left to send a message back. That's a terrifying reality for the league, because Caitlin Clark isn't just another player, she's the golden goose, the face of the league's biggest ratings spike, its cultural moment, its ticket sales boom. And yet the WNBA has failed to do the most basic thing: protect its most valuable star. And so the question becomes unavoidable: how long before Caitlin Clark herself looks around at the carnage, at the lawsuits, at the lack of protection, and asks, is this worth it? How long before her agents and advisors pull her aside and say, your health, your career, your brand, are they safe here? Because if the WNBA doesn't change course fast, this isn't just about injuries anymore. This is about survival. Fans didn't fall in love with the league to watch a glorified street fight. They came for competition, artistry, and stars. But if the league keeps treating its golden ticket like it's disposable, then that ticket won't last forever. The choice is stark. Either the WNBA finally gets serious about safety and accountability, or they watch everything they've built, the stars, the fans, the momentum, collapse in a spiral of injuries, lawsuits, and lost trust. And if that happens, the league's so-called golden era might go down as the shortest in sports history.